Tonight, could there be an ash processing plant in Port Augusta? And the family of a young boy living with cancer flooded with community support, fundraising efforts more than tripling the target.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. A federal government letter obtained by 7 Spencer Gulf News has revealed a new ash processing plant for Port Augusta is in the pipeline. But some are concerned new ownership of the power station could prove a hurdle in sealing the deal.
An opportunity for a $13 million coal ash processing plant in Port Augusta now slipping away.
And unfortunately, it may well slip through the fingers of the Port Augusta residents.
The New Rock project converts waste from ash dams into bricks, cement and ceramic material. Now it can be revealed the federal government has committed a $3 million grant to build a facility in Port Augusta. But Senator Rex Patrick claims the reason it hasn't been announced is because new owner of the land, CU River Mining, isn't willing to negotiate.
Unfortunately, CU River Mining is not willing to sit around the table and have a conversation.
New Rock estimates a fully functional facility would create 150 permanent positions.
And indirectly through transport and distribution, it could be as high as 300.
Member for Grey, Rowan Ramsey, has confirmed the project is in the pipeline and is hoping the two parties can reach an agreement.
The proponents need to show that they have everything in order, that they can actually deliver the project.
In a statement, CU River Mining said the current proposal is unacceptable until New Rock resolve concerns regarding financial viability and environmental impacts of the project and has undertaken community consultation. Senator Patrick has now written to the federal government asking them to transfer the grant to the Whyalla Steelworks if negotiations for the Port Augusta site fail.
We can use all of the steel waste, all of the steel slag and waste and materials, every last tonne of it.
I do not want to see this grant leave the Iron Triangle.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Broken Hills CBD will go up in lights after the council awarded a $1.6 million tender. Sydney-based lighting specialist Silver Bullet Projects has been tasked with illuminating the heart of the Silver City to make it a more attractive tourist destination. The work will include permanent light installations at the Town Hall facade, Sturt Park and the Civic Centre. The Port Augusta community will next week get the chance to hear from the candidates vying for the seat of Grey in the upcoming federal election. Hosted by Army Warren Media, the free event on Tuesday will begin at 10 in the morning at Gladstone Square. Organisers say it will be a good chance for people to question candidates about the issues they care about. Members of the public can submit their questions to Army Warren Media via email.
We go into elections, we want to be able to vote for the person who's going to represent our interests the best.
South Australian road fatality rates are officially among the highest in the nation, with 42 people losing their lives on our roads already this year. Police are pleading with drivers to take care while behind the wheel. That message reinforced during this Road Safety Week.
A horror start to the year with 42 people already killed on South Australia's roads. And during Road Safety Week, the RAA is urging road users to make a future difference.
Safety is everyone's responsibility, and it applies every time we get behind the wheel, whether you're just simply going to the shops or heading off on a long journey.
These confronting markers placed in Victoria Square, Adelaide, representing the lives lost last year. The black markers, those who died. The red markers, those seriously injured. And 2019 is already off to a tragic start.
We've had a dreadful start to the year. Our road toll is way in excess of what it was this time last year.
Whyalla police are reiterating the dangers of risky driving and the fatal 5 contributors to road deaths.
Wear your seatbelt. Don't drink or drug drive. Don't speed. Don't drive while distracted. Put the mobile phone away. And don't drive dangerously.
And for our community to set a good example by being aware of who uses the road.
In relation to road safety, it involves everybody that uses the road. So pedestrians, cyclists, other people crossing the road need to be really cautious as well.
The RAA says the horror start to 2019 is an indication that more needs to be done to make our roads safer, with police warning that serious consequences will be faced when delinquent drivers are caught.
There are penalties if police catch you doing it.
Shari Ham, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
It was a wet and windy day in the Eyre Peninsula with wind gusts reaching 90 kilometres an hour and very heavy rain. A cold front moving over the south of the state early this morning, bringing with it showers and thunderstorms. Port Lincoln recording 20 millimetres with Coffin Bay almost doubling that.
Further showers are forecast to push right across Eyre Peninsula overnight tonight. In terms of rainfall amounts, probably another 5 to 10 millimetres is possible with those showers later today.
Emergency services are warning to take extra care when driving on the roads. The Far West Health District is calling on locals to join its palliative care volunteer service. The volunteer coordinator says anyone, no matter their age, can offer their time to support people at the end of their lives.
Volunteers have long been important members of palliative care services. These generous people support patients and their families through physical, emotional and social care in their end-of-life period.
They've known someone, either a family member or a close friend, who has been associated with palliative care.
The Far West Local Health District is hoping to see more volunteers join the care service in 2019. Those who donate their time can choose to help patients in the hospital or out in the community.
Sit with the patient, may have a cup of tea. If the patient doesn't have a carer, they may take them to an appointment or shopping or for a coffee, but they're to provide support.
Ms Pearce says volunteers won't be on their own. They'll receive plenty of support, including health service training.
Then we do specific training which is based around palliative care, the role of the volunteer, listening skills, communication, spirituality.
Saying if you have good communication skills, especially when it comes to listening, you should consider joining.
They can contact me, Janet Pearce, on 0428 913 303.
Patrick Ryan-Key, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Communities around the Spencer Gulf have rallied together today, donating more than $30,000 for the Thumbs Up for Jack fundraiser. The 10-hour radiothon smashing its original target of $10,000 just 4 hours into the program. 7-year-old Jack Kemp was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of brain cancer 4 years ago. His 5th and final surgery a month ago, helping to extend the length of time he has left. All funds are going towards Jack and his family to help ease their financial strain. If you would like to donate, visit the Thumbs Up for Jack GoFundMe page. Still to come tonight, meet the life-saving dog in charge of keeping watch of its owner's diabetes, and another famous canine who had a love for the railway, celebrated in a new book. Welcome back. Tumby Bay's area school is hosting a special visitor with a student teacher and her diabetes alert dog joining the classroom. The 2-year-old Groodle and her owner raising awareness for support animals in regional towns.
An unusual looking teacher, but at the very least, very popular ones. Here at Tumby Bay Area School, Renee Birkin and her 2-year-old Groodle Pippa are welcome additions. Pippa not only keeping students fascinated, she's also Miss Birkin's diabetic support dog.
Bit of reassurance, not having to check all the time and having someone else monitoring me while I'm focusing on the children.
Renee and Pippa interning at the school for 7 weeks as part of Renee's studies. Miss Birkin was first diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2012, later applying for a support dog during her gap year. Pippa able to smell and warn Renee when her blood sugar levels are dropping.
She'll come up and tell me by licking me and pouring at me that I need to have some sugar. She's also in the process of learning how to alert high blood sugar.
Over the past 2 years, Pippa's played an important part in Renee's life, monitoring her every day. Tumby Bay's principal says she's been a welcomed addition to the classroom.
They're really just enjoying their learning journey as per normal, and she's added an extra element and layer to the classroom.
Pippa's still learning to become a qualified support dog, with students and teachers not allowed to play with her while she's working.
It's been amazing with her. They've learnt very quickly that she's working and they need to ignore her.
We have to ignore Pippa but when we are doing our work at school.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
An iconic Mid-North canine who lived in the 1800s and had a love for railways is the subject of a new book. Railway historian John Wilson launching his latest work, Bob's Railway, which delves into the fascinating history of Bob the railway dog.
Nomadic pooch with a fabled past. Bob the dog has become a folklore hero in South Australia's railway history. Railway historian John Wilson, compelled by Bob's urban legend, has spent a year of his life seeking out his true past.
There was no other dog quite like him anywhere in the world. And I think that's something that we need to wave the flag and to tell as part of our unique history in the outback.
Like many of Australia's historical icons, Bob's narrative has built up a bit of mythology over the years, including stories of his offspring becoming the mascot of Australians fighting in the Boer War.
As I researched it, I found that there was a lot of information that was commonly known about Bob which wasn't quite right.
John launching his new book, Railway Bob, in the dog's spiritual home of Peterborough. Bush poet Ben Eggleton, locally known as the Bard from the Scrub, also sharing his voice for the late pooch.
Now he sits upon a stone plate in Peterborough town, cast in stone with the wind still in his hair. Scruffy little Bob, that famous little railway dog, just sitting quietly waiting for his next train. A memory for all to touch and see. Bob, the railway dog.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Art lovers in Broken Hill will be spoilt for choice this weekend as the local gallery prepares to launch 4 new exhibitions. Both local and national artists will be on display.
A remarkable collection of exhibits, all to be unveiled tomorrow night.
There's textiles, there's 2D work, there's video work, there's 3D work, there's metal work. We've got everything in this round.
The first patrons will see on opening night is Fresh Bark, a culmination of works by young Indigenous artists from the far west.
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially Broken Hill has such a unique story and a very unique style culturally to have displayed.
Moving into the main room of the gallery, and art lovers can marvel at entries from the Tamworth Textile Triennial, a celebration of textile art from across the country.
It's a show that started in Tamworth and then it tours all around Australia actually, so we're lucky enough to have it here in Broken Hill.
Upstairs are 2 more displays, montages featuring 8 films from renowned video artist Tracy Moffat and The Shape of Things by local artist Gritta Walker. Gritta's work focuses on discarded objects and their natural process of decomposition.
It's a really fantastic show, very three-dimensional, so you need to come and see that one.
Opening night is tomorrow, with the event starting at 6 o'clock. Patrick Royenke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. The last kick on a historic oval, and Britt will join us with the weather. Hello again. Peterborough's Football and Netball Club is gearing up for an emotional farewell to the town's home ground this weekend. May the 11th will mark the last kick on Peterborough's Soldier Memorial Oval.
The Saints will be marching in one last time. Players from Peterborough's Football and Netball Club strapping on their boots for their last ever home game at Soldier Memorial Oval.
So we've invited everyone back since 1962 when we first joined the Northern Areas. We're also going to celebrate some premiership reunions.
The 11th of May set to be a day of reflection and celebration. A sea of red, white and black flowing through the club room for the Saints' final encore.
There'll be a lot of just ex-Peterborough people coming home for the weekend, so there'll be a lot of Saints memorabilia going around, and maybe all those feelings will be stirred up again.
Janet, a life member, has been playing netball at the club's court since she started high school.
You have your highs and lows. All clubs do that, but generally, it's been fantastic. We've met some wonderful friends. Our children have met some wonderful friends.
The club, amalgamating with Jamestown more than a decade ago, are now wishing to look towards the future.
Or that we were losing the Saints, but the last 17 years has been wonderful, and we just look at ourselves now as being Jamestown Peterborough Magpies.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Now let's take a look at where the fish are biting. Here's this week's Fish and Tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. It's fantastic at the moment for this cold change to come in. We've all been waiting for so much for our King George whiting species to arrive. Now we've seen some of the bags over the weekend having a sprinkling of them, and also with squid. When we look at yellowfin whiting, it's amazing. I've been getting some texts over the weekend where people have been out and got their quotas 3 days in a row with different types of people. So that's fantastic. It means our yellowfin are around, they're still in close. It's your last opportunity, so make sure you get involved with that.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, fantastic to finally get some rain. Generally what that means, silver whiting up along the shacks and out along the other side around Port Patterson, that and the shallows on the high tides at night, which is really good. Crabs can still be found, taking a little bit longer to get in the nets. Lots of King George whiting, but there are a lot of small ones amongst them, and also some pufferfish as well. Squid are in good numbers along the shacks and out in the middle banks, and also try for trolling for snook around the back of number 2 bank. And that's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Locally, the whiting have been a little bit hit and miss in Proper Bay. Some guys have found some fish, but they've been moving around a fair bit to find them. There have been quite a few red mullet in Proper Bay though, and also some nice garfish. Moving out wide, there have been some tuna still hanging around low rocks, just small fish in the 6 to 8 kilo size. Over at Coffin Bay, the bay's been fishing really well for salmon trout and also some whiting, especially in around the leases and also some of the land-based locations like the ledge and also next to the boat ramp. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you again with more fishing tips next week.
For the latest weather details, here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise. Well, as you mentioned, it's been a wet and wild day across the Gulf, Whyalla reaching a top of 19 degrees, Broken Hill 18, Port Augusta, Port Lincoln, Port Pirie and Adelaide all 15. On the satellite, we can see a vigorous cold front crossing South Australia today, bringing a cold southerly airstream. A high-pressure system will move over the south of the state through the weekend. On the waters tomorrow, southerly winds tending southwesterly at up to 30 knots with seas at 3 metres. And the sun will rise at 7:08 with sunset just before 20 to 6. We'll see showers over most parts tomorrow. Port Lincoln with a top of 18, Woodna and Kadina 17, Port Augusta, Whyalla, Corn, Port Pirie and Adelaide all 16, Coffin Bay and Cleve with tops of 15, Broken Hill just 14 degrees. And looking ahead now, with showers due to clear at the start of the weekend. Tops of 19 Saturday and Sunday at Port Pirie, Cleve with maximums in the late teens, Woodna looking fine and partly cloudy over the coming days, Whyalla remaining dry over the weekend, a top of 19 on Saturday. Much the same at Port Augusta, Kadina with showers Saturday and Sunday, tops of 18. Port Pirie seeing showers on Saturday, drying up on Sunday. Clare showers and 14 on Saturday, Broken Hill with tops of 16 on the weekend. And that's it from me. Take care during these wet conditions.
Sure is pretty wet out there. Thanks for that, Britt. That's your local news for this Thursday. We'll have an update later, but until then, have a lovely evening. Good night.